to see?
No, it's going.
Run it
like
back.
there's literally a big red sign counting down. Vegas Around Town, episode 2 podcast. I have Andrew Prodigalidad here. Andrew Pro, the Good Life Chef. He runs a meal prep catering service, Las Vegas based, of course. He's the former sous chef for Gordon Ramsey, Emerald Legasse. He gives back to the community by teaching kids. He's just doing cool stuff, man. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. You guys should see this place. It's an incredible space you're creating, man. This place is cool. I have the glow lights around me. Everything's like properly lit.
It's not too shabby.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
You
Yeah.
make my voice sound sexy.
There we go. Yeah, we sound, if you put your mic closer too, you're going to sound like a voiceover artist. A lot of them just, that's how they get that deep voice, you know?
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for having me, man. Thank you
you're
for
welcome,
having me.
dude. I'm glad you're here. I want to talk about a couple things. How you ended up in Vegas is the first question I always ask people, because Vegas is always like this random town where you just meet cool people. And the show's called Vegas Around Town, but we're not really going around town now.
Right.
And I want to really highlight people in the community that are doing awesome things. You're one of those guys. How did you end up here? Because you're from LA.
Yeah,
Or
60 miles east. 60 miles east of
The
LA.
909.
909. Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, California area. 2007, decided to come out here for culinary school. Gave myself 2 years, and now it's coming on 13 years or so, 14 years. 14 will be in February.
wow.
What a trip, man. Dude, this place is so different from like when I first started or when I first came here. When I lived on Cheyenne, and that was like as far as you can go. Like on
Meaning
summer,
growth. Yeah, like 10
215.
years.
Yeah, 13, 14 years I've seen this thing. I watched the city center get built. Man, that's incredible. Yeah, I came out here for culinary school. Le Cordon Bleu. Was alumni of 2008. Same culinary school, Julia Childs, if you haven't heard of her. She started all that with the TV chefs like Emerald Legasse and Wolfgang Puck and Gordon Ramsay. Like she was amazing. Like she did takes one way through before magic of television, and there were mistakes and all sorts of different things.
Did you have any background before going to school, or was this just on a whim?
Yeah, I mean, I was always a fan of not starving, so I told myself if I'm always around food in the future, then I'll be in good shape.
Job security, man.
Yeah, that's what they promised out here, was like with all the strips and stuff or strip restaurants, was that it'll be easy for you to have a job. And my first job was in connection with my friend Michael Farrell. Shout out Michael. I owe a lot to that guy. He got me my first job at Wolfgang Puck was Chef Sherlock. He was a chef at the school I was attending, Le Cordon Bleu. And then he helped me get the job at Gordon Ramsay. I don't think I told you that.
Oh no, yeah. So
He was the one that was like, hey, do you want to help open up this restaurant?
how long were you at Wolfgang Puck? So out of school, you went straight to a job. You didn't even have a break.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was actually was in school. Yeah, like kind of have to do good in school, kind of show off, get noticed. Well, Mike got noticed, and then I was his friend, so he brought me along.
Yeah.
I wasn't the best, man. I'm telling you. Like,
Oh, really?
Like
He just hooked you
He
up.
was like really good. He had jobs. Like he was a cook. He was a cook before he went to culinary school. I was not really a cook, you know.
So moral of the story is be friends with awesome people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, make sure you're not the smartest one in the room, right?
Hey, that's true though. Like, you know, every single job that I've had, even career wise, were all referrals, right? They don't teach you that in school, that the people you meet are what's gonna help you shape your career and your life. Relationships, basically, right? Like skill gets you in the door and keeps you employed, but like connections, dude.
Networking will get you pulled through the future. I'm a big believer in that. Working on the strip, you meet tons of different people, very smart chefs, very influential people that you want to gravitate towards. And those guys are in my life to this day. It's such a tight-knit community in Vegas, like especially in our industry. It's kind of like you're 2 degrees away from knowing, Chef James Trees from Esther's Kitchen. You know, it's a crazy thing what's happening in our community as far as the renaissance of restaurants is like all these chefs that are paving the way for restaurateurs in Vegas are all used to be strip chefs, you know, or people like Michael Mina or Gordon Ramsay or big names like that. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do is take everything that I've been taught over the years and utilize those skills and kind of hone it. And
in your business.
In my business, in the Good Life Chef. And then just kind of pass the torch to the team that I plan on building.
With you know, these influential mentors you've had, like Emerald, Gordon Ramsay, talk about sort of working in their environment and learning from them.
It's a trip, man. Emerald Legasse, he was kind of the first one to have a restaurant here. The restaurant out here in Vegas. He was the first celebrity chef in the 90s.
The BAM guy? BAM guy. That was Emerald.
Yeah,
we're showing our age though.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, like he took a chance and opened up a seafood restaurant in the middle of nowhere because of his TV shows.
That's right. He was on TV.
Yeah, man.
A lot.
So there were like 50 restaurants when he first opened his restaurant.
But how was it like going into Wolfgang, which is also a well-known chef?
Yeah,
going
amazing.
into the Emerald environment.
Yeah, each one was like a stepping stone to the next one. Really, not like Wolfgang Puck was such an awesome job at 19. It was at the Springs Reserve. I think you're familiar with it, and it's overlooking the Las Vegas Strip. It's lit up at night, and here I am, 19 years old, at a culinary school at a Wolfgang Puck kitchen, making pizzas, listening to jazz band. I mean, it's such a cool feeling, like doing all that. But at the time,
as a 19-year-old, hell yeah.
Yeah, but at the time, you're not really looking at that way, you know.
Just like, where's my money?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's my money?
Well, I want more money.
Yeah.
So don't do that, guys. Don't.
Yeah, and then, so how long were you at Wolfgang? Then
about 2 years, and then went to my first real line cook job at the Venetian at Delmonico Steakhouse, which is where I honed my line cook skills.
It's a good restaurant.
And it was such a battle. I mean, we were doing 700 covers a night.
What is covers, like plates?
People.
Oh.
A night. The kitchen only, or the restaurant only seats
so
like 250.
You're serving 700 people a night.
Yeah, so you're turning the whole restaurant about 2.5 times.
Is that big?
That's incredible,
That's
dude.
big.
That's
okay.
big money. That's probably like $80,000-$90,000 in a night.
And Venetian it's always been a popular hotel.
For conventions, and people are loyal to Emerald, so they've been going to that restaurant. The steakhouse has been there for like 20 years, so people have been going there for a while now.
How long did you do that?
So we did that for just 3 years, and then that's when Mike was like, "Hey, do you want to?"
Mike, you got the call from Mike again?
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, do you want to help open Gordon Ramsay Steak?" And I was like, and this is when like Gordon Ramsay was starting to be big in the U.S. with Kitchen Nightmares. So this was his first big restaurant in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
So I got to be part of that. And
so he was there in the restaurant, involved, quality control.
Yeah, man. So he would show up and do with the tastings and make sure everything was in line. And such a nice guy, man.
Like,
nice guy.
Oh, you mean like when his menu was being developed? He would show up and he would, it is his restaurant.
For sure, yeah. He would come and check the new menu. But he would always like drop in every 2 or 3 months or so. But such a good guy. Like, walk in, like the whole restaurant stop and applaud because you just know he just smells like rich mahogany, leather-bound books.
You said he's tall.
6 something, you know. You just know it's Gordon Ramsay. But he like makes sure he thanks everybody, shakes your hand, even if you're like really busy, doesn't really matter. He makes sure that he says thank you to you, which is really cool. That was a really impressive thing I took away from him was that he's really respectful
to the crew.
To the crew, yeah. And then he would stand in line, and everybody would have to stop service, stop cooking, and he would take pictures and sign autographs for every single person in line. Whoever wanted one, he would do it. Then he would get dressed, put his civilian clothes on, and have dinner with his friends and family. And that's when, like, the real Gordon Ramsay would come out, is when he's sitting with his family, you know? Because I seen it. I seen people come up and they're like, "Oh, Chef Ramsey, can I get an autograph?" And he's like, "Fuck off, man."
Yeah, I'm eating. Yeah, don't
like,
be rude type
yes.
of thing. Yeah, there's always that line though. But that's a cool way for him to check out mentally, because he's like, I'm clocking out and I'm gonna go have a meal. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah, it's very, very fair way of doing it.
Yeah, because I've given
famous,
you all my like
exactly.
attention, picture times over. You know, now I'm gonna be a normal person.
A normal person.
That's a good.
It's fair.
That's a boundary that he probably set himself, right? That's good to have
Absolutely.
boundaries. Wow. So that's not really that much of a nightmare story, because like the media, video, right? Like, because I worked on some of those reality shows with like Hell's Kitchen, Marco Pierre. Like I did like a sizzle spot for Marco Pierre, which is like his teacher, right? Like,
right.
And he was notorious for yelling too, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
they created that culture: throw plates, get mad, smoke cigarettes in the kitchen, but be the best. I'm the fucking best type of thing.
Can't do that anymore, huh?
Oh no, yeah, you'll get fired, and that's why it's
HR will become knocking on your door.
It's really hard to accomplish anything great in this city, culinary wise, and unless you really have to be out of a union hall and create and be able to handpick your team.
Yeah, because I imagine there's a lot of competition, right? Like everybody, not everyone can be a cook on the strip, right?
Right, yeah, they don't just hand them out to anyone. You definitely have to be able to.
So you said you weren't that great, but did you excel? There's obviously a reason why Mike called you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always been a good student. I can, as far as learning, if I apply myself, I can recreate it.
Yeah.
It took me a while to really learn how to cook. You know, the biggest thing that really put everything in perspective was you're a music guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest analogy with food and music is music. For instance, if you pick up a new instrument, you have to learn the notes, what notes go together, what notes don't go together. And then you learn a cover song and you kind of play around with that. With food, it's the same kind of thing. You learn about salty, sweet, bitter, sour, and then you learn a cover song like hollandaise sauce or bechamel sauce, and you kind of learn that, and then you add your own notes to it, and then all of a sudden you're writing your own recipes and your own songs. And so the service, it would be comparable to the composition or the show.
Right.
Yeah. And then the sous chefs or the chefs would be the composers. So you had to really make sure that, Rob's not hung over on bass. He's going to destroy the service.
Off timing, hitting syncopated beats, basically.
Exactly. That's very important that when you're on the line and you're composing those dishes, that they're coming out on time.
That makes sense.
The flow of service is happening. And I'm sure that you've noticed it where you're having a good experience and you're feeling like it's flawless, like you're having such a great time at this restaurant. And that's a beautiful thing because a lot of moving parts had to happen, a lot of communication had to happen within, 20, 25 people in order for that to happen. And vice versa. If something's wrong, you can totally tell that
bad
something's
experience.
Off beat. Yeah, something's off
Your
beat.
food's late, doesn't taste correct.
Cold, someone's not eating, other people are eating, and there's a lot of moving parts. But like a song, if it's composed right and everybody's
you don't pay attention. You just enjoy it, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a cool metaphor analogy for food. I never really thought about it that way. And so the sous chef is the the conductor, basically.
Conductor. Yeah.
The guy with a little baton.
Exactly.
Dude, that's dope. That's a very meta way to look at it too.
Yeah, I miss it. I miss being a line cook like that and battle, like you said. It is a battle every day.
Yeah, you're going in a battle because you're feeding hungry, angry people every day.
Yeah, and
right. That's so people get snappy,
and for the amount of money they're spending as well.
Because you were like more of a luxury type.
Right. I've always been in a luxury fine dining atmosphere.
Fine dining. That's what it's called. Yeah. Have you ever, when you were younger, ever worked in like McDonald's or any like?
No, my first job was Quiznos.
Really?
Yeah, but I was like really bad at making sandwiches. So my friend Joey, he was their boss at 16 years old.
Oh my God.
Don't give a 16-year-old the keys to a restaurant so we fuck off and party the night before.
Oh, I don't want to hear nightmare stories.
And then in the morning, he'd have to go to work, and you go to Quiznos to get toasted subs, right?
Yeah,
Remember that?
That was their thing. It was like on this bed.
Yeah, so this guy would put a sign up that says the toaster's broken. And no one would come in, and we just.
Well, that's why. Where are they now? Quizno's out of business, and you guys are still working. Yeah. So, quality over quantity, right?
Yeah. I mean, the journey's been incredible. Vegas
so what's that transition like? Okay, so you say you miss it, meaning now.
I miss cooking. I miss cooking on the line with a group of people like that. Like mine is more catering style, pace of service.
So wait, let's backtrack. So you left in 2019 that industry and started your own business, basically, the Good Life Chef, right?
Good Life Chef. We've been in business since 2019, safely serving Las Vegas community, all over the valley.
Meal
prep, catering, healthy, nutritious food delivered right to your door every Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And you have a lot of cool clients like UFC athletes.
Yeah, we fed UFC athletes, a lot of CrossFit athletes. We have some Raiders players that are ordering when they're in town.
The Raiders players?
Yep.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, when they're in town, and they need the service, they'll reach out to us.
What do you make for the Raiders?
Yeah, whatever's on the menu.
Raider treats?
Yeah, well, we did do these energy spheres for them. They're like peanut butter spheres. I don't like to use the word balls when I'm describing food, you know?
Yeah.
So I just call it spheres.
Okay. They're like protein balls? Exactly. We're like 12 here. So the Raiders, you made food for the Raiders?
Yeah, fuel.
That's pretty good.
Fuel for the Raiders, yeah.
Wow,
Raider
that's
Nation,
cool.
Baby.
How'd you get hooked up with that?
Man, just one person, Justin Franco.
Dude.
I was just mentioning him.
Yeah.
Right? He's the guy with Invitation to Dine. Now he's just going to go off and open up Legolands for the Levy group.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a big group.
Dude, this town, I'm telling whoever's listening to this, and you're new to Vegas, we are a big town on networking because people come to the city from all over the world, the best of the best editors, the best marketers, the best real estate agents, the best chefs, doctors, nurses. It doesn't matter.
It's also an affordable town to live in too.
Exactly.
It's like, it's a sustainable place to be. So going back to Good Life Chef, talk about your menu. What's your mindset of like, first off, what made you think about doing a meal prep service?
The CrossFit community had played a big part of that. I was really heavily.
Because you do it.
I do it, yeah. And it's changed my life. It's changed the way I looked at food, the way I treat my body, the conscious decisions of what I put in my body and what I do to it. And I knew that the market was there as far as people wanting a healthier option and they wanted a meal prep service that wasn't just necessarily a bodybuilding meal prep service, meaning that it wasn't just plain brown rice, broccoli, boiled chicken type thing.
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah, and I wanted to design a menu where people had options throughout the week. And I was just thinking of what I would want throughout the week. I would want options. For instance, I would have like a Southeast Asian option like Thai chicken curry with grilled zucchini and garlic scallion rice one day. And then maybe tomorrow I want, Greek grilled chicken skewers with couscous pilaf and red hummus and tzatziki sauce. And, that could be lunch the next day.
Yeah. So you switch it up. Variety wise, you get different types of food. Do you ever fuse the food like Greek and Mexican food? No, or is it just keep it like?
Yeah, we keep it. We don't really do too much fusion.
Yeah, fusion.
Yeah, too much of that. But there are different types of options as far as different regions.
Yeah. How's business? Good?
Business is good, yeah.
How much your turnaround?
We're converting pretty good on our ad space on Facebook. We're finding that it's interesting, more on Facebook than Instagram.
Oh,
and we're a food service, so so we're looking to shift our attention back to Facebook. I think working with our current marketing team that we've had the ability to streamline everything and make everything look like a brandable company. And I think consumer confidence has been increasing because we have been showing more presence.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you were in the news.
Yeah, we were.
Just on the news.
That was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was we work with this company this nonprofit called Create a Change Now. Shout out Lisa Campbell, love you. Beautiful people over there. They've been a nonprofit for almost 20 years. And essentially what they do, they work with farmers and gardeners, and they build these gardens, school gardens.
Mm-hmm. Here?
Yeah, and here in neighborhoods or low-income neighborhoods, which is a beautiful thing because these kids can have an escape from whatever situation they're in.
Yeah,
distractions, and come into an environment that's conducive for their growth, and they can learn about healthy living, healthy eating, taking care of yourself, taking care of food. And
so you go out there? Do you actually go out there in that community and then teach the kids about nutrition?
That's a pretty cool thing that they do is well, first I want to say that I have a big loyalty to them because they've done so much for me. I wanted to give back to them. So when they do call on me, I am always there to be able to, back before we can gather, we'd go to the schools and I'd find out what they're growing in the gardens, and then I would create like a salad or something to
you just go pick it and make a salad?
No, well, they'll be like, okay, they're growing kale, basil, blah, 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 and then I'll show up with the materials and donate my time and resources to make them a salad so they can taste it and try something new. Experience it, yeah. Learn about it.
That's a good way for them to actually educate people about nutrition, is just like, here, you eat it.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, when you look at like a raw carrot, unless you're a hardcore like weirdo like me that'll eat raw carrots and broccly, it's not that good.
It's not really how you're supposed to eat it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to dress it up.
Yeah, you could treat it different. That's all we're hoping to spread the message is, there are other options out there. You can learn about different ways of living. You don't have to be stuck in a certain box just because you're from a certain area or you grew up a certain way.
It also changes your perspective on the types of food you want to eat, because when you combine them, right, like you said, it's like a song. Like there's so many variations of food,
right?
And it because of science and chemistry, that one food affects the other, right? Like
Correct.
When you put two pieces of different foods in your mouth, that affects the taste, which is crazy.
The chemistry.
Yeah, the chemistry of it. So that's a cool sort of perspective for them to see that.
And then have the ability
firsthand.
to do it. Yeah. They're like,
and then looking at this cool chef, like it's cool, it's interesting way to see somebody, present the food in their face. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but
yeah,
you get it.
Yeah, for sure. I remember the yo-yo guy.
Yo-yo guy? What's the yo-yo guy?
You don't have those assemblies back in the day, the yo-yo guy?
Oh, I went to school overseas. Yeah. Where are we going with this?
I think we were talking about what created change now and what
the charity, basically giving back to your business gives back to the community. Basically, the Good Life Chef also does that.
Yeah.
Right?
So in order for us, our whole philanthropy goal is incorporated with our business. It's not two separate parts. So we always want to be sure that we have that focus in mind, that we continue to give back, and where we can, we want to be hands-on with it. We don't want to just donate money and throw it and not see where it goes, or raw materials to these organizations. But we're very proud of the organization 3 Square and what they've been doing, and the ability to reach so many people. Chefs for Vegas, Chef Justin Franco created that with his chef friends, and it's still going to this day. So Vegas is a town that helps each other, and my piece is with Creative Change Now, and we work with them to get donations from the schools. So they'll actually, for instance, since the schools aren't in, they usually have the students harvest the food, but now they don't. So now I can go collect that food, make meals out of it, and then feed it to the families that actually took care of the.
Yeah, it's just like a full circle. You're going back. But you said something a little interesting earlier too, going into your preparation for the food, right? There was that cooling process that you say some people.
Yeah. So the most important part of our service and our industry is making sure that the food is cooled properly and out of
as far as meal prepping.
As far as meal prepping goes, our service is to to ensure the longevity of the food and the safety of our customers, we have to make sure that the food's not in the temperature danger zone, which is 140 to 40 degrees for too long.
How do you get to that zone?
For instance, if you cook a whole batch of chili in a big old pot and then you try to put it in the refrigerator in a big old pot, or try to put it in boxes and stack it in each other and it's still hot, it'll be in the temperature danger zone for a while and bacteria will start to grow. And then somebody can get sick if they eat that food like 3 or 4 days later if you don't properly cool it.
Oh, so that's basically, and that's a step you have to take.
Yeah, that's
right?
the step that we take, is cooking it properly and then cooling it properly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people make that big mistake when they try to get in the industry. So whoever's listening out there that wants to have a meal prep business, is that I would really focus on how you're going to execute cooling everything properly.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a lot of competition?
There are a lot of chefs that are starting to do this. There's caterers. There's been caterers forever. I don't really try to focus. I focus on my own lane.
Sure, yeah.
I never try to focus on what other people are doing, because they're probably going to do that better than me.
Well,
they're not really going to do anything that I'm going to pursue better than me. So I always have this belief that if I just focus on my lane and I just water my seeds, then the fruit will grow.
Yeah.
When the time is ready.
And you're going to have your own following, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, people already have, you already have a pretty big community here.
You're only one person away from a big breakthrough or changing your life or a new customer.
Yeah. It's good too, because you can probably scale in your own pace. Like, you're able to scale your business the way you want to. You said earlier, like, part of the reason of you leaving was because it was becoming like a managing job instead of like cooking, right? It was personalities you have to deal with. And that was the same reason I left the whole post-production industry is, I liked the creating part, but I didn't like the managing part, right?
Politics.
Yeah, because then you get like 20 people up here with middle management jobs, from multiple studios telling you what to do. Yeah, then it's so diluted. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I relate because I started my business after you, and, we're kind of going in that same lane, right? And you can see the struggle. It's tough because a lot of it's just by yourself. The struggle's by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have that, now you're employing people, right?
Yeah,
Us too. Now I have a team. But for the first few years, it was just
doing
like
yourself. You're wearing all the
racking
hats.
your brain.
You still wear I wear a lot of hats still.
Mm-hmm. Do you still deliver?
I still deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
How
can
many?
find me on Sundays.
What's the scale of deliveries do you make?
We have
weekly?
Around 30 deliveries a week now.
Mm-hmm. How many people are you cooking for?
30 people, 30 deliveries. People.
Yeah.
But our potential clientele is around 60, 65 people that could potentially.
Is that manageable still for you?
Yeah. Well, what I'm learning right now is, like, my whole goal this year was to be able to hire people and create jobs. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to be able to let go
of the control
because that's really hard for me. It's like my baby,
Yeah.
But I kind of sat down with myself and said, hey, if you want the longevity of this, you're not gonna be able to do everything. You're gonna destroy yourself if you don't let someone help you. Yeah.
And you have to kind of delegate, right?
And at the same time, like, the other person wants to learn. That's why they're there. So if they can learn from somebody like me, and I have an obligation to teach them the right way.
Yeah. And especially from somebody who has all this experience, you basically.
I kind of lose sight of that. Mm-hmm. I kind of lose sight, like, I have a lot to share.
You're the mentor now.
Yeah, I have a lot to share. I have an obligation now. Like, I have to pass the torch. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't create all this stuff. I didn't create these rules. They sound crazy to me. They might sound crazy to you, but this is the way we.
Sounds like you're growing up, Andrew.
Yeah, I think so, man.
What are you now? What are you, like
33?
33?
Yeah,
you're still a baby. I'm 40. I'm 40 and I'm still playing Howard Stern over here, dude.
Man, that's young, dude. I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about how young.
Yeah, I think guys mature super slow. That's it. Because we get, there's always this thing, a lot of distractions when you're a kid. So, Yeah. Did we get everything? Oh, Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your traveling. Did you want to travel or like Anthony Bourdain or?
I don't like to travel very much.
Really?
I'm like a weird, like I hate planes, but I wanted to talk to you about Anthony Bourdain because he had a travel show. He was one of those chefs that even though I wasn't a chef, I got interested in because he was a great storyteller, right? And then he showcased a lot of things through food, right?
Yeah, he's an incredible human being. The way he had the ability to connect people and connect different ethnicities and backgrounds was incredible. I think he got everybody to believe that you can learn a lot about each other if you just cook something for someone or ate their food. And it's so true. Like you can totally have empathy towards another person once they've made something for you or you cook them something.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that just told great narratives for me, like especially through all the visuals, like all of it was a combination of everything, which was like you talk about music and Anthony Bourdain to me was like this writer, chef, director, producer, and made this amazing show. Parts Aren't Known, No reservations, right? But on CNN. And I had a cool story regarding one of the editors. I think it was like a show I was working for. He said they shot those episodes, like let's say they went to Japan and they would just shoot so much footage and they would put it all in the edit room and it would never come alive until Anthony Bourdain came and did his voiceover just like this.
Wow, that's
so
amazing.
Like he would just paint this picture, right? Like
change the whole dynamic
and then you would see his vision, show. Right? Like, cause a lot of times, like when you're an editor,
it's like poetic. The way he spoke and the way he wrote was like in like a lyrical form.
Well, it's kind of like that with food, right? Like you have a vision and then you make a dish and then now you have to articulate your vision, right?
Right.
You basically have to go, here are the ingredients. And here's the funny thing, it's you have to trust people to like
execute it,
right?
That's true.
Because it's not like you can cook 600 meals.
It's not like, it's not like you can play the guitar and the drums at the same time.
No, yeah. So, dude, this was a good talk. We're running out of time.
Yeah, we'll do it again, man. It was great to be here.
Plug your stuff, homie.
Yeah, if you guys want to find me, we're on the interwebs, www.goodlifechef.com. And we're on Instagram at The Good Life Chef. And we're even on TikTok. Go find us on there before they shut that down at The Good Life Chef.
Andrew Prodigalidad, The Good Life Chef. All right, guys.